Sure. So Bernie, Saint Bernie, he was very fond of Denmark, which is kind of like Sweden, right? A bit more flexible. The main downside to Sweden, and I wrote half a book about Sweden and I spent time there, is it's really boring. God, is it a boring society? Because everything works. I mean, everything works. I mean, it's just like, they all deny they drink, right? And then you go down, but I went to Södermalm and there's like half a mile of pubs. How would you explain that? Finns? Oh, nice to be racist about it. That's great. How do they do it? Here's the misconception about all these big Scandinavian welfare states. They charge amazing amounts of tax, right? I mean, they really tax, right? But here's the weirdest thing, and I swear to God, my mother's grave, this is absolutely true. Guess what the most popular government institution in Sweden is year after year after year in surveys? The tax office. Could you imagine that here the tax guy is the most popular part of the government, right? Now, how does this happen? It happens because they're actually a public service agency. They employ people who can actually spell and don't salivate and try and kill you. They pay decent salaries. But most of all, they actually try and tell you where the taxes go, for real. So if you want to rent out your place on Airbnb, in Sweden, there's actually a form on the website for doing it. They facilitate it. Don't say you can't do it. Just say, we do it, this is it. Do you want us to keep track of these details in case there's a problem with the person who rents as a third party? Yes or no, you can choose that. So then they pick it, and then you pay your tax on it, right? And then you can go to another part of their website, and it says, this is how much we're taking in an Airbnb in the year. This is how we spend our money. It's all interactive spreadsheets. And like, you can figure out where this is going. And the entire government works on it. You don't get it unless you pay for it. Now, if you want to have world-class education, world-class healthcare, if you want to have a compressed income distribution, if you want to have a lack of violence in the streets, you have to pay for it. Now, here's the thing. We hate paying for stuff. Now, whether it goes back to the fact that it's like individuals we don't never see or whatever it is, right? We have been skimping on the payments for a generation. Taxes have gone down and down and down and down. And then you get the refrain on the other side. 57 million Americans don't even pay any taxes. Remember Mitt Romney's famous thing? How about we start with you, Mitt, you shit? You pay 15%. I pay 33%. What's up with that? When you take his tax trust shelters into account, he pays single figures. The man wants to be president with a straight face. I'm paying 33%. Kiss me. This is ridiculous. But we're all at it. Every single one of us will try not to pay our taxes. How do you generate Sweden if you have a population that simply refuses to pay but wants to consume? In what sense?
Your tax rate is so high, what opportunities do you have to accumulate capital?
Well, here's the difference. The serious point on it. The richest people in Sweden were the Wallenberg families, and they were rich all the way through. They paid no taxes. Very similar to here. Rockefeller Foundation, which is the sink for the Rockefeller family, in 1971 paid $71 in taxes. So just as Mitt and Romney and I have a relationship, you all have a relationship with people like this. And the reason is income and wealth are actually quite different things. Income is made from paychecks and is taxed as paychecks. Wealth is made from capital gains. And these can be made in stock markets, they can be made in real estate investments, they can be made in currency swaps, and that's real money. And then there's inherited wealth, which is an entirely different category, which actually takes up about 2/3 of all wealth. So when we really talk about wealth, we really have to separate that from income. And when you do, you find out something really amazing about the Scandinavian states. And trust me, I'm not a huge fan. I'd never lived there. I think they're really boring, right? But what you find is that most of the taxes are paid by workers who are paid reasonable wages. They pay really high taxes, and they're the ones who consume the services. The Wallenberg family paid no tax and also sent their kids to Harvard for money. See, the thing is, the rich at the top, the really top, they always have an exit option. It's called cash. And that's what happens when you liquidate wealth. The rest of us live off of income, which is actually something qualitatively different. You don't build wealth from income. You build savings. You might build retirement, but you don't build wealth. Gentleman at the back.